Support comes from Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to sustainable and sound conservation of the state's forests, which support more than 41,000 Missouri jobs, resulting in a $10 billion industry. ChooseWood.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. In January, Ricky Hughes founded St. Louis Run Crew as a safe space for Black and brown runners in STL after he noticed a gap in the region's running scene. The crew usually runs in downtown St. Louis and through the Gateway Arch National Park. This summer, they are changing things up and hitting various local businesses throughout the region, like Profield Reserve on Cherokee, Elicious in historic downtown Ferguson, and Mokabee's Coffee on South Grand. Ricky says the St. Louis Run Crew is open to, quote, all faces, paces, and laces. When we talked in April, I started out by asking Ricky what motivated him to start the crew.
I come from a track background, just to be real, but this was 12 plus years ago, but 100, 200 sprints, never long distance, ever. So I've been running, I guess, long distance for about 2 years now.
Okay.
And what sparked me were two main catalysts. It was the pandemic. I was depressed, just having anxiety in the house. But the real fire was when I saw the video of Ahmaud Arbery being killed. And that day I went to get a Apple Watch. I don't know why I needed an Apple Watch I needed to track my runs, right?
Sure.
So I got Apple Watch, some shoes, and I started running out of my house. I couldn't even run a mile at first. But it just changed my life mentally.
Okay.
It was what I needed at the perfect time. Yeah.
Was there anything that you were expecting to find when you started running? So there's release of your energy, getting your body moving. You're talking about Ahmaud Arbery's murder as being something that sparked it. Was there anything else that you were expecting from running as a new activity?
Wow, that's a great question. I was looking for an outlet. I was looking for an escape out of my head. I was angry. I was furious at what I saw in that video, and I just felt like I needed to do something. And I had no idea that running was going to change my life like it did. And I was looking for something. I didn't know what I was looking for, Elaine, but it found me through running.
And you said that in the beginning, you couldn't even run a mile.
No.
What was it that kept you going? I mean, did you start to taste a little bit of what they call the runner's high, even at shorter distances?
Yes. So, and people always say, oh, I wish I loved running. But I don't really think I love running. I love how running makes me feel. So it can be hard. It can be tough. It's like you versus you. But it was how I felt after I ran. Like mentally, I would say even spiritually. I wasn't even tapping into the physical benefits, even though I know it's come in that vein, like how it helps our people physically. But it was just how it made me feel. It made me feel free. It made me feel confident in myself. And I fell in love with how running made and makes me feel. Yeah.
So what was it that turned that personal interest in running into starting the St. Louis Run Crew?
A lot of things. I want to really quick preface. So I didn't start running. I started walking.
Okay.
I would walk because I couldn't run a mile. So I would walk, then walk, run, then walk, run. Because I wanted to be known that I didn't just hop off the porch, started running. I started walking. Okay. So, but what inspired me to start the Run Crew? I didn't want to start a run crew, Elaine. I did not. I wanted to run with other run crews in St. Louis and have my camera and do my content and do my reels and tell my story. But what I saw was all the run crews were all white. And a funny story, I actually had a friend who is white, and he was trying to make running in St. Louis more inclusive. And as he started to see what I was doing, he kind of said, Ricky, you need to do this. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do a run crew. It was the time commitment. Like, I want to just run with everybody else. But honestly, it was kind of lonely being the only black face at a lot of these run crews in St. Louis. So here we are. I started a run crew, and the very first time it had like 8-9 people, and it showed me that we need this here in St. Louis. So I got peer pressured by the city to start a run crew pretty much. So here we are.
But it was positive peer pressure.
Yes, positive peer pressure for sure.
So did the lack of sort of seeing other black or brown runners have something to do with the reason you chose to have this crew meet at Kiener Plaza and then to run through the Gateway National Park?
Yeah, so I ran with a run crew in LA and Detroit last year.
Oh, okay.
And they were running through like the downtown area. But what I felt and saw in those spaces was not here. So the reason I chose Kiener Plaza was really, I would love to say because I wanted to be, but it was because the statue Harry Kiener, he's a philanthropist, and they built a statue of him, and it's called The Runner. So I was down in Kiener Plaza, I saw the statue, said The Runner, and it kind of like had an aha moment, like, we got to run through downtown St. Louis. Even we've been there about 2 months, I have yet to see anybody else running downtown in the Gateway Arch. So it was meant to be. So shout out to Harry Kiener. You gave me the motivation to create something in a space downtown that's so beautiful that I want to show people how beautiful our downtown is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, when I've seen you talk about the St. Louis Run Crew, you mentioned that it's open to all, quote, faces, paces, and laces.
Yeah.
What does that mean, particularly given what you've said about creating something that is really explicitly meant to be for people of color?
Yes, so it was created and forever will be created by a black and brown face, right? But I also wanted to be intentional about the mission is to create a space for black and brown people because we don't have that here. So that what's it mean by the face, but the pace is important too because running can be really overwhelming in my community. And walking can seem like I don't want to walk, but I don't want to run. So there's no like in between. So I want to be sure that I let people know that no matter whether you think you can run or walk or crawl, it's a space for you and very low entry. We don't go out there running a crazy pace. Some people walk, some people run, some people literally just come and talk, Elaine, because it's created a space for connectivity. It's created a community for people who would have not identified as a runner, but they come and they just run half a mile, and I can see it changing lives in real time, and it's inspired me. Like it's lit me up like nothing has ever lit me up before.
Who has been coming out? Like, what is the age range? Is there some range as far as where people are coming from?
Yeah, that's a great question. So very diverse. So black, brown, white, children. There's actually like a play place right in Kiener Plaza. So some people bring their older kid and they watch the kids playing. Some folks run with strollers with their kids. So as young as 2 to my dad is 77 and he came out. So whole spectrum, everybody's welcome, and like it's really just changed my life to see people come from St. Charles, North Side, South Side, the county.
Wow.
Even I have had friends that when they come in town now, that's where they're at. Because they know the space is here for them now.
So you mentioned earlier that you ran in LA,
Yep.
which is where I moved here from in 2014,
Okay.
and also Detroit.
Detroit.
So what is it that you saw there, and are you seeing some of that now happening here in St. Louis?
Yes, for sure. So what I saw, and I I'll say Detroit because I spent a lot more time in Detroit, and their run crew leaders is called We Run 313, and their leaders have actually, we've kept a good relationship. They give me a lot of information and like gems on how to support a run crew. But yeah, I see the people, I see just the energy, and also I see the potential to connect with brands. So that was never my mission. Like I ran because I was depressed. I wasn't trying to create a run crew. I wasn't trying to connect with any shoe companies or running brands, but that's what's been happening. We've been able to connect with some brands. So I do like raffles. I had like some Hoka stuff and some Lululemon stuff. So I try to use that stuff, not for me, but to like excite my crew, because 90% of our runners are new runners. So I want to keep them inspired and engaged and coming back, because running might not be fun, but it's everything that surrounds running, the connectivity, the merch, and things like that keep it exciting, that I want to kind of leverage to just continue to grow. The crew. So we say the crew.
The crew.
Yeah, the crew.
So I think that gets to an interesting aspect of running. And while there are more Black and brown folks taking it up, it is still by and large a very white sport or pastime. And associated with it is branding, is merchandise. It's the commercial sort of aspects of it. As a Black man here in St. Louis, what does diversity in running mean to you, especially given everything that you have seen so far in these 7 or so months that the crew's been around?
It means us having like a seat at the table, us having ability to make decisions. Like I see a lot of boards that's all white. Like I believe the running industry is like a $38 billion running industry, and there's like one Black-owned running performance brand out of $38 billion. So I wanted to be more than just putting us on a cover or like using a picture for social media. I want us to be able to tell our story, like you've created for me, Elaine, to show that we bring a lot of creativity, energy, skill, swag, all of that to this sport. Because it is a sport, and but it's more than a sport. It's a community building piece, and I want us to just have more pieces to the puzzle.
Sure. Now, when you have been meeting with folks, you talked about Ahmaud Arbery, and what had happened with him. It is safer to run in a group than it is to run individually. What are some things that non-Black and non-brown people of color should know about running while Black?
That is a great question, because it's important to talk about. They need to know that we have a different thought process before we walk out the door. So I wear a lot of neon green. Like my shoes today are neon green. Our logo has neon green in it because I wear neon green so people know I'm running. It's no like, oh, what's this Black kid doing running through my community? But if I have on neon green, it may think, oh, maybe he might be running. He's not just running from somebody's house. He's running. We think about what areas we run in, what time. When I don't run at night. And my wife, like, she supports me a lot, and I don't even want her to worry if I don't run at night. I don't run early in the morning if I don't have to, because I don't want to seem like I'm a threat.
Right.
So the thought process is just totally different before I walk out the door, especially for Black women as well, because it's already unsafe to run as a woman, but as a Black woman, it's even more unsafe. So running together is extremely important. Yeah.
And is that also part of the reason you've made this crew one that gets together on Sunday morning?
It's become that. Okay. Like I said, I just created the crew because people were like, Ricky, you got to create this crew. And I want to give St. Louis the credit.
So when folks show up to run with the crew, is there anything you recommend they come prepared with?
Some shoes that are fairly decent. I don't mean just go out there and buy like expensive shoes, but It does matter. I don't want you to come out and have a bad experience where your knees are hurting or like you're stumbling, getting blisters. I want it to be a fun experience. So come out, shoes tied, dress for the weather. Like I said, you don't have to even run the whole time. You can come out and walk. People hit me up like, I'll come, Ricky, I want to come, but I want to get ready. I respect that, but you don't got to get ready. You come, this will get you ready.
Sure.
Come out, walk, run, chat. Walk around Kiener Plaza and we'll be right back because no one is left behind. So, yeah, just come out with your shoes tied.
Okay.
You'll be all right.
This episode was produced by Maya Norfleet and edited by Alla Kouziz.
Our audio engineer is Aaron Dorr. This podcast was mixed and edited by Aaron.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
St. Louis on the Air proudly supports local artists by using music from Life Creative Group.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to conservation and careful management of the state's forests to make them more resilient and better habitats for wildlife. ChooseWood.com.